For the first time this year, we finally have a little bit of hope in the Brantford market in the higher end. After 75 days with absolutely zero sales over 900,000, we just had 3 in a single week, including 2 sales over $1 million. That is a meaningful change in behavior. So let's dig into the actual numbers. Last week in Brantford, we had 18 sales with an average price of $689,000 and an average days on market of 41 days. That tells us that the market is still moving, but it's not moving quickly and it's definitely not overheated. And this is where it gets important because locally, it looks like positive momentum, but nationally, the data is still telling a very different story. According to CREA, the Canadian Real Estate Association, Canadian home sales in 2025 were down about 1.9% year over year, and the market ended the year very quietly with sales slowing into December. Now, moving into January 2026, we're actually seeing more pressure downward, not less. January sales were down over 16% compared to last year, and last year was already very slow, while new listing jumps over 7%, pushing the market closer to balanced conditions. That's a big deal, more supply and less demand. Prices are still also under pressure. The National Home Price Index is roughly down 4 to 5% year over year, and the average prices are down 2 to 3% depending on the month. And on top of that, the Bank of Canada has held rates again. So borrowing costs are still sitting at levels that are keeping a lot of buyers cautious. So how do we reconcile all of this? Here's the reality. What we're seeing in Brantford right now is not a market boom. It's early movement, just a little spring bump. Buyers are starting to get back into the higher price range, but they're doing it very carefully. This lines up perfectly with what I've been saying since January. Sales volume is down, confidence is shaky, but the market is trying to stabilize. And this is where the opportunity is, because the Canadian Real Estate Association is actually forecasting that sales will increase about 5% in 2026. They would almost have to because 2025 and 2024 were really, really slow as we move into spring and summer, driven largely by Ontario and BC markets starting to recover. So what does that mean for us here in Brantford? It means we're likely heading into a modest spring bump, not a surge, more activity, more showings, and some movement at the higher end, but still very price-sensitive market. The market isn't taking off, but it's starting to shift. And if you're a seller, this is exactly the kind of environment where strategy matters the most. We need to dial in those listing prices, not shoot for the stars, and get some homes sold.